Hello to all of my BPTV friends, YouTube friends, Facebook friends. I'm Alan Levine, the Talking Machine. We're going to do our 31st Maria's Ideas Teaches Us to Paint.
Hi friends, if you've been with us before, welcome back, and if not, hello. We are at Jono's Art Studio in the Southside Slopes of Pittsburgh. If you're ever around, stop by. So we are painting Summer Squeeze, a glass of lemonade.
I love lemonade.
So I'll just give you a couple little tips here. So it's the old world masters have always, many of them when they do landscape paintings and most portraits, anything, they would base paint their canvas with a wash of, say, a burnt sienna or an earth tone just to warm up that background.
That's interesting.
Yes, so now the trend seems to be very vibrant colors, hot pink, turquoise, yellow.
Very
to
popular,
start.
yeah.
And you can see like it peeks through, you leave some of it, like a lot of the more expressive type paintings that you do, you leave some of that peek through. It also will enhance some of the colors that you put on top of that base color. So it's just a fun way of doing it. And then I chose the yellow because of, so our design here, there's a lot of yellow, but I wanted to do that turquoise in the background, but we're gonna let that yellow peek through. We can let it peek
I'll
through.
do my best.
Yeah, so that's why we started with that. The other thing I wanted to say, if you have not seen any of the tutorials that we have on the Maria's Ideas art for each episode, if you need help drawing, there are a couple of different ways you can do it. You can draw something small. You may have a photo of, and this is for anything, it also applies to anything you may have, and you just draw a grid on that, and then you transfer the same number of rectangles or squares on your surface. It could be a wall, it could be a canvas, it could be anything, and then that's how you scale something up. Or you can draw it the same size. I have that here. You can do that and just trace it. You can put chalk on the back. You can rub a graphite pencil on the back.
Wow.
You can get graphite paper. And so what I did here was I used the actual size that I drew during the tutorial to show you that, and then I transferred it.
Thank you for
Okay,
that explanation.
so
I'm excited.
Sometimes I forget to do that, and then you can also use these little office binder clips to clip and hang the panels, which we use because I like them better. They don't bounce.
Understand. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we are going to start. I just have Alan here with me today.
Yeah,
I think
I'm honored.
we needed some one-on-one time.
Yes,
know.
we did.
We always have great guests, but so we are using white. These are acrylics. White, a lemon yellow, which is a
Ooh.
brighter.
It seems
Yes.
more vibrant.
Lemon yellow, a warm red, a turquoise, black, and green. Okay.
Guess what? It matches my polo.
Yes, it does.
I did
you always
not
seem to
know.
coordinate.
Thank you, God.
Yes, yes. So we are going to start with the background, which we typically do, but we're going to leave some of that yellow. You leave as much as you want, okay?
Oh, really?
I'm
Okay.
going to leave.
Well, I noticed there's like little shading
Yeah,
there.
so what I did was then I introduced right here, I introduced some yellow back into the turquoise and just,
I like that.
it depends. You can add a little bit of water and let that show through, or you can add it back in and make another color.
Wow, I'll have to make a decision.
Yeah, yeah. So we're going
Thank
to
you.
start with the 1-inch flat shader.
All right.
And we just have a variety of brushes, different ones.
And
then
thank
I'll
you
show
for having them all ready
Yeah.
for me.
So we wet our brush, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with our painter's tape later.
All righty.
Okay, and then we have our little plate to mix if we want to mix anything.
Okay.
So we're going to go right into our turquoise. And then
And just go on the painting here.
Yeah. So
Okay.
also, Alan, I know you're good at this now. Where is our light source coming from? Since this is a little still life, where is our light
I
source?
think from the left.
Look again.
I didn't.
Where are
Yeah.
the shadows?
Yes, you're from the right.
Yes,
I was
okay.
looking up top.
You were.
Yeah.
You were.
My
All
eye
right,
got
you-
focused on the
that's
bright,
okay.
shiny object.
That's okay. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't matter too much for the background, but if you wanted the canvas to be brighter, it would be maybe brighter on this side. if
Right
you-
side.
Yeah, because the light is coming
No, it
from
makes
that.
sense.
But
You've taught me
again,
that, and I made a mistake.
Yeah. So for the backgrounds, I don't like to think about it. I just like to throw the paint on.
All
and
right.
Just kind of, you can see how if I put it thinner, it makes more of a little bit of a greener
No, I see that.
color. If you want to add a little bit of water, you could do more of a wash. I'm purposely doing very quick and brush strokes that you can see the brush strokes. You can see, I like that. You may not like to paint in this way. For me, I do a lot of custom work for people, and
Yeah.
a lot of the work that I do is very traditional. So I get to let loose when I do my own stuff, and that's
And
what
I
like to
appreciate
do.
you.
So, yeah.
Let loose some more.
Yeah, so you can see, and then I'm just coming around. Now I feel like, maybe I might, no, I want it darker. I do want it a little darker, solid, around the lemon slice and the glass, because I want that to pop.
Okay.
If it's paler, then the lemon slice will not stand out as much because of the contrast will not be as extreme. So if you want that to pop a little more, keep it a little darker. And you can see I'm just turning my brush like this and using vertically, and then I'm pushing down, and then you just pull your hand, and that's an easier way to control the brush.
Okay.
I find it easier to trim with a bigger brush than a smaller brush sometimes.
You know what? You've worked miracles
Yeah,
with me.
well, a lot of people think you have to use a little tiny brush, but then you have a harder time controlling your hand. This way, you just push down on the bristles and let it come through.
Thanks for those tips.
Yeah, so now I'm going to come down. I'm also going to keep it a little darker along the glass. So you can see here, if I hold the brush this way, Alan,
Yeah.
so what you want to do is whichever direction your brush stroke is,
Right.
you hold
Stay
your,
that
yeah,
way.
and then so I'm pushing it down, the bristles are spreading out and they're lining up with this.
I just did it.
Yeah, yeah, you did great. And then you just pull your hand.
Thank you for that
Oh,
compliment.
and I didn't do a good job on that one.
Oh my
brush
goodness. How is
isn't-
this happening?
There we go. Better. Well, these brushes are soft too, but sometimes, that's art, right?
Right.
You just, sometimes.
You've
and
taught me that. Thank
well,
you.
And sometimes I have days where like my hand feels more jittery.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll show you the way that we can clean that up too. So I'm kind of leaving it a little bit lighter down here, but I'm not crazy about how this looks like a dry brush look as much. It's okay, but what I'm going to do is just take some yellow.
Yeah.
I'm not even rinsing my brush, and I'm going to
Oh
see
my
how this
goodness.
looks. And I'm introducing that. It's going to make it a little
Wow,
greener.
you're going to the next level here. I'm going to try it a little. Heavy-handed though. So-
It is a little greener. Maybe I'll add a little bit of white to it. Maybe, so it's a little bit of white, little bit of the turquoise back again. Yeah, that's better. I wanted more of a softer turquoise. So, and there's
Understand.
green in I guess that would be a mint leaf in there.
Yeah.
So did you know a lemon is a hybrid?
No.
Lemons,
I love lemons. I never
according
knew that.
to Google, lemons are a hybrid between a bitter orange and a citron.
No way.
Mhm. I did not know that.
I
And
love that.
The
yeah.
first recipes discovered, known to man, where do you think came from? That were written, that were found? Lemonade. Any idea?
Middle Ages.
I mean, like what place, what location
Oh,
in the
what
world?
place?
Mhm.
Maybe in Asia.
Egypt,
Middle
Persia,
East.
Sicily.
Wow.
Yeah. Supposedly.
Well, I know it's like an antibacterial, so
Yeah.
when they were putting it in lemonade, it's a healthier drink
Sure.
for you. And I drink a lot of lemonade water in the
Yeah.
morning to get started. It helps your body kickstart it.
Yesterday we made water with fresh mint, lemon, and cucumber slices.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah.
See, you're getting healthy tips here.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the ice cube up here. And I may want to hit it again if I want it to get a little darker. I still feel like I didn't leave maybe as much yellow exposing through as
Well,
I like. I could see it, but
You inspired me.
it's
Look,
okay.
I got yellow.
Oh, see, I like yours better. Oh, I like that. Oh, I'm gonna throw some of that on there. Oh yeah, thank you, Alan. I need to loosen up a little. Okay. You can wet
The
brush.
student's helping the teacher
well,
on the
that's-
31st show.
You never stop learning and getting
I know.
inspired. Ever,
Yeah.
never.
I have an open
Musicians,
mind.
artists, whatever, right?
Look
Yeah.
what we learned about
See, doesn't
lemon.
that look more interesting, like with something in the background, right?
You inspired me.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. And then you're done with see, you're getting faster too. So look how
Yeah.
straight your lines are.
I
You
know,
I don't even
that-
think you're going to need the tape,
We'll
but
see.
we'll see.
You said I had an eye for it, and it's coming out.
Yeah.
Keep your tape.
I know, you're good. You're good. All right. So let's see. We are
Just today.
I know. Okay. So let's rinse that.
What's next?
Let's grab a filbert. This is, so we have two little filberts. Filberts, we have a couple different ones. They're curved at the top.
Yeah.
I'm going to
I
grab the
got-
white handle one. It's a little bit nicer. It's a little bit more of a point on it, like a tighter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Same one. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm
what we're going
dipping
to
in.
do, so on this, the picture, you can see it's not as lemony in the shadow
No, it's
areas.
not. It's
So-
not. It's a little darker.
You're right, and that's okay. We still wanted to, if you have a golden yellow, you can make a golden yellow, but it's difficult to make a bright yellow. You can add white, but it kind of knocks it back a little.
That is
it's-
so
if you can-
interesting,
if you,
yeah.
If you buy a really bright, like a bright yellow, then it's just easier.
And we have a bright yellow.
Right, but we want to tone it. We want to make it warmer, more
Oh
like a
my
cad yellow.
goodness.
So we're going to add red. So take that yellow.
I appreciate you not asking me.
Pop quiz later. All right, so we're going to take.
I'll try to prepare.
Yeah, and this is a very, very warm red. Okay, so
Yeah.
just always put the color next to each other,
Okay.
and then you pull them in together. So because we really don't want red, we want a yellow.
Yeah.
And then so I even cleaned my brush because I felt like, so then go to no, that's enough red, just tiny
Okay.
bit of red. I
Yeah.
would take some of that, just take it off there.
Okay.
Now, put your brush back in the yellow and find a new spot on your palette
I'm
and
gonna
see
go
what that
there.
looks like. Because you want more yellow than red.
Yeah.
That's probably okay. It might still be a little bit too dark, but we can lighten it. So
Okay.
I would say rinse your brush a little bit
All right. I'll
and
rinse
then
it
go,
all and start
yeah,
again.
and then go back into your yellow and back into that third spot. So
Okay.
basically you want a nice golden yellow. If it has a
Okay.
little bit more of the red, that's fine because it's darker at the bottom.
And then go to the third spot.
Yeah, that looks good. So what I'm doing is this darker spot right here that I have on my palette that has more of the red.
It did make it a little.
Yeah, that looks
Yeah.
good. That's perfect. So what we're doing is this shadow, the light source is here. So
Right.
this lemon slice, that it's going to be more in shadow
Ah.
over here. So you could see.
I can see it.
So we'll start at the bottom section. So you're turning my brush like that again,
Okay.
and we're coming in and just lay your brush down like this. Let those bristles fan out, and just pull your hand around. It might pick up some of the turquoise color because
Yeah.
I'm too impatient to let things dry. And if it mixes, I don't know, I kind of like it if things mix. So you can let it dry, the background, if you want, and just pull that around. And we will have to do another layer because this yellow is more transparent. So we just have that darker tone. Now,
Yeah.
with this same brush,
Should mine be a little darker or?
you can make it a little darker, and we can always make it darker after too. So now
Okay.
let's take this same color, and then we're coming and see the little segments in here.
Yeah.
Let's go in here, and you just lay the tip of the brush in the
Oh, I
widest
got
part. Yeah, you
too
want more
red.
yellow. I'd say you probably have to rinse.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you get the
I
more
got
of the intense color in the brush, it will
Yeah.
never go away.
I
You know what
know.
I mean?
Yeah,
it
I've
just
learned.
swooshes in between the bristles. So
I've learned that.
yeah. So now we're going up into these segments. And again, this is just the base color. We're just blocking in the base. So yes, it's darker. Yes, it's not the right color, but we're
Right.
going to layer the colors. Dark, when you paint with acrylics, it's dark to light.
Yeah.
So again, this section, dark to light.
Okay.
So paint those little segments. We have the lemon, the rind on the lemon. Okay.
You're testing my skills with all this precise stuff.
No, you know what you're doing. And then what we're going to do is just look inside the glass and see where around there's some lemon slices in there.
Yeah.
Where this is a lemon slice, and then these are the ice cubes, and then the mint leaves. So now we're just putting in the dark areas or the shadow areas in here. So you can see
Okay.
it's little darker over here. I actually need a little bit more. I think I'm going to put a touch of the turquoise in mine too, just to like
Oh, really?
muddy it up a little bit. See, it just
Wow.
turned it a hint, like almost toward a tan, because I'm coming in here and I want these
Oh, as
shadows.
you come down,
see that?
yeah.
So then you can see that if you refer back to the
All right, I got to
the
still
picture.
catch up a little bit.
No, you're good. And then you'll see, so you're going to have the shadow down the side.
Yeah, and I need
Then
that
we'll
shadow
add our
effect.
reflection.
Yeah.
Shadow here. It's darker. We'll go around. And again, it's just layers. It doesn't have to be like perfect, and it doesn't have to look just like
All
this
right.
picture. But we just want to define where the ice cubes are, and
Okay.
so that's
go
good. So what I did was same color combination.
Yeah,
A little
and
bit
then
more red and a little tiny bit of turquoise.
just
and
a tiny.
That's green.
Oh,
turquoise.
What am I doing? Yeah. Whoa. We
Oh.
don't want to mess that up.
That's okay.
I went low.
The green would be fine too. Just the turquoise is already in the color
Yeah, I'll
in
put
the
a
background. So when you
Oh.
when you mix a new color
Oh,
or a new,
it took over a little.
that's okay. Then always find a new spot on your palette.
All right.
Yeah, and then you want this
And
color.
I'll
You want
add-
something like this, like
Yeah,
a
and I'll
warm
add yellow.
tan. So anytime you are mixing a new color, if you use the colors that are already in your palette, obviously you would be using the same colors, it will work because it's more
I'm getting
cohesive
there.
because it's made up of the colors.
You made me work a little bit. I'm getting there
That's
now.
good. That's
Maria.
perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, now your brush, you need to flatten it. Go like this.
Yeah. See,
Because
you've
it's
taught
in the,
me. I'm ready
yeah,
for that.
It's in
Yeah.
the, when it pushes up in the belly of the brush, it makes it like a bulgy
All right. Now I
thing.
start doing my
yeah,
shadows.
so now you could see just pick out the definition of the segments, a little hint of that. Do you know that nursery rhyme, Bulgy met a bear?
Yeah.
Bulgy
it's
met
been a while.
wait. Bulgy met a bear, the bear was bulgy, the bulge was algae. Oh, the algae met a bear.
Yeah.
Algae met a bear, the bear was bulgy, the
You
bulge
got to
was
think
algae.
of Al first. Yeah.
I'm always teaching Jono nursery rhymes. I guess maybe girls do them, like
Yeah.
played, our patty cake and our nursery rhymes because he's like.
Well,
it's
I
a
had
funny-
three sisters, so
True.
I remember patty
Okay.
cake with all three of them. Yeah. You're bringing back
I
memories
sing
here.
you sings. He's like, what the heck are you talking about? He has no idea.
No, I understand.
Okay, so you could see that's pretty much just defining, picking out those areas where everything is.
Yeah.
And usually I'll clean off my brush. If the paint dries on your palette, and
Yeah.
these are plates that have a coating so that it doesn't absorb as much, you can just wet it and it'll reactivate the paint.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just going to put a little, it will get covered up, but I just kind of feel like I want some of that color down here. I like to clean off my brush
Yeah.
in other places. Then, okay.
Yeah.
So there you go, right?
Yeah.
So then you come in and you just pick out these areas. It doesn't have to be, just go around the lines that are there. Like you don't
Okay.
even have to look at that. Just
Just
kind
come
of,
in.
yeah, just kind of outline and just push it out. You don't have to necessarily leave it.
Okay. Because we can
like a
blend other
perfect line,
colors
yeah.
in there with it.
Now you can see here, if I wanted this a little brighter, I just wet my brush. And if you go on top of acrylics, even if they're pretty dry, you can pick them back up. You can see, I'm going to leave that a little brighter in here because our base was really dry. I
Right.
did that yesterday. And it won't, if I just painted that yellow right before we started,
Yeah.
it would reactivate.
How about my
the
turquoise was still wet, and look what it picked up.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it picked it up.
Well, and you can see here, there's turquoise in because
No,
the glass
I
is
just got
reflecting.
lucky.
I
Look.
like it. They're called happy accidents. So we put red. We're putting the colors that are around the glass because it's a glass,
Right.
It's clear and it's
Yeah.
going to reflect those colors.
No.
So reflections are tricky too, and that's why we're going to learn how to do them. So I kind of like that better.
Yeah.
Letting some of that. And I will add more of the yellow and the white on top. So that's pretty
Right.
much it there, the blocking that in. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'll put the red at the bottom. Whoopsie. I just got white paint on my plate. Okay, so I'm going to clean my brush. You can still use the same one. I'm
Yeah.
taking the red, and this is a very warm red, not a true primary red.
Right.
So if you mixed blue with it, it would not make a good purple because it's not the true red.
Understand.
If you don't have a warm red and you want that, the warm red I thought looked nicer with the turquoise. You
Yeah.
could just add some yellow to the red that you have.
I got you.
Even a little white. All right, so I'm just coming in, I'm painting. I think we used this red in one of our recent paintings. It's much more transparent. Some colors, some paints are more transparent than others.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes you want it to be and sometimes you don't. So now I'm leaving some of that yellow again
All right.
from the background, right?
So let me get my red and I'll catch
Yeah.
up with you.
Yep. So I'm putting it heavier on the left side again because of the,
It's darker.
yeah, and I'm leaving some of that yellow. I just like it. And the viewers can certainly paint, they can make this very hyper realistic. They can keep it all very more traditional in style, and that's fine. I
Yeah.
just like to paint looser whenever I'm doing my own things because I don't always get to do that,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't always have time to paint my own things. So when I get to paint,
Look on, baby.
yeah. So I just threw in some yellow again in there too. Why not? So that's our bottom. Maybe it's sitting on a picnic table or a tablecloth. I just thought that
Yeah.
color would be good with this palette. And then we have, so since we're using the red, we'll go into our straw. And
All right.
I'm going to grab, usually I could use the same brush. This I'm using the small flat 1/4 inch.
Okay.
Because that's pretty much, if you look at the shape of what you're painting,
Yeah.
and you grab a brush that's similar, it will be easier.
All
So
right.
you're just
I'll have to
coming
catch up
in,
and
and these,
1/4 inch flat.
yeah, and this,
I'll get to that.
it's a little tricky to get that nice line when you paint in the color, but we will remedy that with our other lines when we clean it up and maybe even the tape.
Yeah.
And then what I'm going to do is look on my photograph of the artwork that I paint. So there's some red in here.
Yeah.
So anywhere, any place that I see red, I'm just going to hit some little places because this glass has like it has the little fluted bottom.
Right.
I'm not sure if that's the correct term, but that's
That's
the one
okay.
I came up with. So what I'm doing is to show that, you could see I'm just putting in some little hints of where this bottom
Okay.
table or tablecloth might be reflecting in it, right?
Right.
I'm coming up here. I'm not going all the way to the edge. I'm leaving a little gap there, but I'm putting a little
Right.
bit in here, and you can see right here, Alan, too.
Oh,
see, it's
okay.
right in here.
Well, I like what you're doing. so
Yeah,
I'm
and it doesn't
trying-
have to be exactly the same. It should. Our goal was usually
Well, I
to
can't.
make it.
My eye's not that good.
That's good.
but-
Yours looks good, but it's usually I like when the painters just do their own thing, you know.
Oh, I'll run free now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some reflection in there, and we're going to rinse the brush and grab. That looks good.
Yeah.
And we can always add more.
All right.
So now I have paint all over my arm.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let's see. Now we're going to.
At least it's not on your pretty outfit.
Yeah,
there.
no, that's my.
You just missed
I wanted to wear something summery.
It
Okay,
is.
Thanks.
All
So
right.
now we're going to get
Oh, I
that
need
lemonade
qu-
happening.
I needed that 1/4 brush. What did I need that?
Little for the straw. You could do it now or you could do it later. We can
Well,
actually.
you carry on and I'll try to.
All right, you do that, and I'll do the white part of it too. While
Okay.
I'm waiting for you. You can do that
All right.
because sometimes the white you need another coat. That and it kind of goes down into there. This is going to be fun when we get to the highlights. All right, so now I'm going back to that filbert brush. Okay, 1/2 inch
Yeah.
filbert, and now we're painting the lemonade. So
Alright.
some lemonades are brighter, some are
Yeah.
richer, depending maybe on the lemons or I don't
Right.
know. So now I'm taking that yellow and I'm taking that just straight yellow, and I don't want too much in the ice cube. See here, this is the ice cube
Oh,
here.
okay. Yeah, you gotta
here,
spell
here,
that
here.
out for me, yeah.
So the lemonade it's a little bit on here, but it's mostly on that lemon and here and here. So keep this a little brighter. We're going to add the white, but if you add more yellow, then we have to go on top of that.
Right.
So what we're doing is going into the lemonade itself, and we're
Alright.
going to add a little bit of that red in some places again.
All righty.
We'll go over some of those darker areas
Yeah.
that we added. We are going to add, I'm going to add a little bit of white. When you add a little bit of white to this color, it will make it more opaque, which is what we want. We want it to cover.
Yeah.
All right, so this is going to be here. I feel like sometimes the colors show up a little different on camera, but I do want this to be very yellow. A little bit more golden, I think I added. So we just want to get a little darker on this left side, just like we did here.
Is this the lemon or the ice cube? With
That's
that
the
big-
ice cubes.
Okay,
They're
so
like
I'll
the
stay
three.
away.
They're like 4 ice cubes in there. Kind of looks like.
Yeah,
Again,
1, 2, 3.
you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get in there.
So we just want to define that lemon, and we may need to do a few layers on this too.
All right, I
And
look
then-
forward to it.
Yeah, but to just get that yellow that's so bright and it is a little bit transparent, you can add that little bit of.
So these would be 1, 2, 3, 4.
And that's the
then
lemon.
here is
See,
more
that's the
lemon.
lemon. Mhm.
That's where I was getting confused
Yeah.
with the yellow and white.
Yeah. Okay, and then we'll pick out those segments. You could even put some of the yellow on the leaves. I feel like this still needs to be a little brighter. We'll do that with the white. And then I'm not cleaning my brush yet because I'm taking the white and I'm going on to the ice cubes, but I don't want the pure white
You
yet.
still want some yellow with
Some
it.
of these ice cube areas, it's a softer yellow. It's
It
not
is.
the pure white because
Yeah.
some of that lemonade is in front of them. So I
Right.
did mix white with the yellow, but it's not the pure white yet. So I'm picking out the ice cubes, but
Okay.
we will also enhance them a little bit. And then
All right.
same thing will go around the lemon and then come in the segments. So when we're doing these white areas, we definitely will have to do another layer. So I'm just laying them in. You can see where that,
All right,
the
so this will be
rind.
like a background for what we add to it.
yeah. And then this one up here.
I'm trying my best, teacher.
No, you're good. All right, and then I'll start laying in the white because I want, so I'm taking those brightest areas now,
Yeah.
but I'm letting it dry. Don't get too bright there. Okay, and then.
Well, it's nice and cool in here, so I don't know how
It
it'll dry.
is.
So we'll
I
see.
know. And then while I have this same brush and I have that white, I'm coming up here and I'm doing the rind on the lemon that's in between the segments. So
I was
just
waiting for that.
pull my brush around and then start at the largest section and then pull it toward the center. The center would
Gotcha.
be
You've
white.
taught me that.
So really, we only have used 3 brushes. We will get to the smaller brush too. And then we'll throw in a little bit of some highlights there, and then here, and then we are going to now I think I'm going to switch brushes for the glass itself, but I am going to put some of the green and the yellow together and paint the little mint leaves. Same
Yeah.
brush, I'm still using my Filbert.
Okay.
You can start darker and then add the lighter, or you could just do.
Rinse my brush or just go with the green? I'll
I
go
would
with the
rinse,
green.
your brush looks like it has a lot
It
going
does,
on in
yeah.
there.
It
There's
does.
a party going on in that brush.
It's a big party.
Yeah, I think sometimes you just need to do that so that the bristles
You've
go
told me
back
so. I
together.
needed that
Yeah.
supervision.
So this is our leaf. So when you paint the leaf, try not to cover up. These are the little decorative points
Yeah.
of that glass. If you do,
Leave them
you
alone.
could,
Yeah.
right, because it's going to be harder to cover the green. And then we have our little leaf. There's another leaf over here. So it's just layers upon layers. So you let
No,
it dry.
thank you for
keep coming in.
explaining all
But we're
this,
going
yeah.
to get as much as we can. We have those little bubbles in there. All right, so let's do this. Just some little darker areas. This is in shadow. What color do we add to green to like knock it back a little bit, make it a little darker?
Red? Mm-hmm. You got me
You
on
got
the red
it.
theme. I
got it.
got lucky on that one.
Good job, Alan. It tones it down without making it too dirty looking. And again, that's going to dry. You did make the comment about the weather. The paint does dry differently in different weather, different
I've known that,
temperatures,
yeah.
and whether you paint your house. If you paint on a humid day, it doesn't dry. Your walls won't dry as quick.
I've
So-
witnessed that. Yes.
Okay, so we have it's everything based. I'm going to do this shadow because it's all about timing, right?
Yeah.
For letting this dry. Let's see. I'm going to add. I'm doing the shadow on that left side. I'm taking the red. I keep going into this for my black. It's the hole in my palette.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's
I see that.
Okay.
That is confusing.
Yeah, so we're making a warm brown black.
Oh,
We
my
added
goodness.
black to the red, so it's like a deep wine color, very deep.
Oh,
And
I was
that-
wondering how we do that.
We don't want the true black.
So put black with the red.
Yes, probably about half and half.
Okay.
And then we're coming in, this is our shadow. I'm adding a little bit of water and I'm picking up right under. This is when paintings are fun, when you start doing the shadows and the highlights.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. And then, so this is the shadow, right? But then it's going to be even darker right
No, I love
here.
it. Yeah.
See right here? This is the darkest of the shadow right here because it's completely blocked.
Oh, okay.
So that will be even darker right there. All right, so now as that's drying, we'll come back up. And now we're just going to tweak everything and add our little highlights to the
All right.
glass.
So should I do red separate, then bring black to it?
I
or-
just mixed them
You
together.
just did, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
just checking there.
Yeah.
Trying to follow your
No, you're
instructions.
good. And then we are going to use
And just a little bit of black.
about half and half, maybe. Just see what it looks like. You just don't want it to be a true black. You want it to be a
Yeah.
red,
All right.
red black. Yep,
I'll try it.
that looks good.
Good.
Yeah, that looks good.
All right.
Okay, now, this is where we're going to use the 1/2 inch flat and a small round brush.
Okay.
You doing? Are you okay if I keep going?
Yeah,
All
keep
right.
going.
Okay, so now
I'll catch up.
Okay, now we're taking our. You always want to make sure your bristles are nice and flat together.
Yes.
So now we are taking the pure white. This is the fun part. Now we're coming in, and we're going to put the highlights on the glass to define the glass. So it's a little bit curved at the top because of the viewpoint. If
Right.
you were above the glass, looking down in, you would see inside it. We're not. This is more looking from straight on.
Okay.
We have white on this ice cube. It's a little whiter. We have more here. Now I will show you in a second what we're doing with the tape if you need it.
Okay.
This
No, I'm not going to
section-
need it.
Yeah, oh, you're pretty good. You're really good with that. But I'm going to show just in case someone needs it.
Yeah, if you do use it. I
yeah,
just
yeah.
got lucky and
You could use a piece of paper. You could do different things too. All right, so now I'm picking out the whitest of the white. So this is wider here. I'm coming in vertically. I'm pushing on my brush, and then I'll just pull up. I might need another coat. I probably will. These are the little grooves in the glass. And then here. But when you get these little highlights, see how it's starting to come to life?
yeah.
And then you get them down in here. I'll probably have to clean my brush and use a smaller brush. Use some white here. Okay, and then we need a little bit more segment. So now I will show you to get this edge of the glass. You can do one of two things. Painter's tape. The difference between painter's tape and masking tape is painter's tape is not as sticky.
All right.
If you use regular masking tape, it's most likely going to pull your paint back off.
Great tip.
It's dry to the touch, but usually paint takes a couple hours to cure.
Right.
If you have masking tape, you can still do it. You go like this. You take your piece off and you go like this on your clothes.
Yeah.
Anything.
There we go.
And it puts fuzz on it. I've
Yeah.
done that many times on mural jobs.
And it helps.
And then it makes it less sticky, and you can use masking tape. Okay?
Right.
But I'm using the painter's tape, and sometimes I feel like even the painter's tape is too sticky.
Oh, really?
But this paint, you'll see, we just painted that not long ago. But I'm taking my piece of tape. This is one of two ways you can do this. If you want this really nice sharp edge, you lay your tape down, and you just press where you need that. Don't worry about pressing on the rest of it. And then you take your whites, you come in, you don't paint this way because it will
Right.
push the paint under the tape. You paint,
Straight down.
you can even go this way, but I'm going this way because that's the line that I want. So you can do that.
You're testing my skills on
Okay,
this
and
one.
then you pull it off, and there's your line.
Wow.
Or you can do something like this. You can take a piece of paper. Now this left edge is going to be darker. You can go like this. You can take, this is a heavier cardstock
Yeah.
paper. You can use a ruler. You could do something like that. Okay? So same thing. So you can use paper,
Wow.
you can use tape. You can do it freehand like Alan because he's a pro now. And
Don't make me laugh
Yeah.
during this. Thank you.
And that's it. So now we're just going to pick out all the little details. I have my small round brush. There is some of that turquoise color that would be reflecting in here. That would be here. It might be here. You don't have to put it in the same place as I have, but if you want to, you can see where I'm putting that. And all of these little touches will hopefully make it look like it's a clear glass, right? If we do this
Yeah.
right, if you look, when you're looking, you don't necessarily pay attention. If you're just looking at a glass, you don't think, oh, it has all these reflections in it.
No, I don't.
But what you do to help with your art and your skills is look at that. If you look at this right here,
Yeah.
I see reflection of black in there. I see the reflection of this in there. So when you start
Right.
looking at shadows and reflections, you'll just pick it up easier. And then when you go to paint something, you'll just know where to put it, just because you're training your eye in
Yeah.
a way that you're noticing it. And then I'm just taking that. I'm just making maybe a hint of a light. I mixed a little bit of white. I still had that turquoise on my brush, a little bit of black, and just a very soft gray, blue. Again, it's different variation of the colors we're using,
Right.
but just areas where it might be a little darker, might be a little lighter, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to come in and just define some of the same color, and I'm defining some of these ice cubes. I don't want them to be perfectly like square or rectangle. Maybe this top one could be, but they're melting a little, right?
Yeah.
So they might be a little misshapen. There's some little bubbles, maybe some little dots in here. I'm just using, it's like this dirty gray blue. You can mix more of the tan again, but I feel like I want some of that turquoise color in here.
Yeah.
Even though maybe in life that turquoise color would not be in here, but when you create artwork, like, jazz it up, have fun with it, right?
It's what we
Like,
believe.
why does
Yeah.
it, not have, it can be anything you want, and I just think it makes it more interesting. Just like when you ask 10 artists to paint the same thing, you're going to get 10 different versions of it, right?
Yeah.
And then if you want just a little bit, because again, this would be reflecting, so I rinsed my brush, but not completely, so I have a little bit of a wash of
Right.
this color, and you can see again, just by throwing that in there, whoops, a little bit too dark there. And same thing with our straw though too. We need to, I'm going to try freehand. Sometimes my hand feels more jittery than others. I want to try freehand. I'm inspired by Alan. So
Thank you.
I'm taking my small round brush and I'm coming in, and I feel more comfortable going this way with my hand than this way.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
laying my
That's
brush
the
that way.
opposite
So you
there,
just
yeah.
see whichever feels more comfortable, and I'm coming in and I'm just coming up here like that. It's okay. Not bad. And then our little,
Very good.
and then now I feel like on this side I'm okay coming down.
And I missed the part with the turquoise and the glass.
So what
and
I did was I just mixed.
outline.
Yeah,
So,
I used
turquoise.
yellow, white, and a little bit of turquoise, and it's sort
Oh,
of
okay.
a gray, blue. Actually, I think I put a little bit of black in there too because I did the shadows down in here first.
Okay.
All right, so that's our little straw. Now that I have this darker color, which this is black, red, just mix any colors, but definitely get some black in there. Now we're picking out the darkest areas, okay? And it
Okay.
would be darker on the left side because our light source is on the right,
Right.
okay? And chrome reflections are very tricky, but they're very, they're fun to do because they're so challenging, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of light and shadow. It's not that complicated. You just have to pay attention to all the little, see all these little lines?
Yeah.
You just pick those out with your darker color that you mix, and just kind of just keep layering the dark and the light. And then, so right now I'm doing the darker areas again, then I'll go back in and I'll see what needs enhanced with the lighter again. So it's
Yeah.
just dark to light, light to dark once you get everything blocked in. You start dark to light, but then you go back and forth each section. So the more detail you put down in here,
Yeah.
the more it will appear to be a reflected glass. And then under here it might need a little, and then we need, let's see, a little bit here. And then I'm rinsing my brush and just making a softer black, gray, dark gray kind of color hue. And I'm coming in here. I add a little bit of the red and yellow again. I feel like this needs picked out more. Okay. And then the little segments on our lemon slice, we'll have to go back up into there, and then also this one. Now once you do this, if it gets a little too bold, we can do a little bit of a
Yeah.
wash, and I'll do that anyway in case someone wants to do a wash over top of everything.
Yeah.
You have to be really careful, make sure things are pretty dry, and you also have to do it quickly or else it'll pick up all your paints and make a big mess.
I got you.
I have a little bit of red in here too, but I kind of like that. And then we have this little line up here too, Alan. This is
Yeah.
the line
Oh.
of where the
Oh, I
lemonade
missed
is.
that.
See?
What color should I use there?
I have black, I
Okay.
have red, I have just something that if you're using the same colors, it will
Yeah.
work. But just anything that's just a darker tone, and then we'll pick out some of these other things. So, and we'll pick these out. But we will, how about we'll stop and we'll let you catch up.
All right.
Okay, so I'm just picking out all of these things, and I even put some turquoise in here because again, I just like to layer the colors. Would there be turquoise on the lemon rind? No.
Right.
But in my world today, there is, and I think it just looks better, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll and I have to touch up my leaf. So we'll just stop, we'll take a break,
All
and then
right.
we'll get
I'll
you caught
catch
up.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're caught up here with our painting. Alan's caught up, and I just want to show, if I'm going to take some white. My water's really dirty, but
So's mine.
yeah, if I just do you could use, there's glazing mediums, you can use
Oh,
water.
I got to go in and do this too.
So very thin.
Which brush?
I just grabbed a clean one. Yeah, I grabbed the Filbert. And so what you
Oh,
want
you
to
got a
do,
filbert.
if something's very wet, it's going to smear it. But I'm going to try it right here. I feel like that's dry. If you want to do this, so I feel like the light, like right here and maybe here, what it's going to do is make sure it's not too thick.
Thin it out.
So we
Spread it
want
out.
to just give it a hint of, see that right there? You could see through it.
Oh, just
But
lightly.
it just gives it that little, it just comes over, might smudge us a little. It just gives it that little bit of a reflection.
I was a little heavy, but
because
that's who
it
I
tones
am.
down, yeah. So, and you can go over it. You could do it, a couple times if you want, if you feel it needs it. But anyway, that's just like a little glaze. And I feel like this probably, I can work on it for another hour, but I'm not going to, right? We're done.
Right.
We're done.
No, I like the glaze idea.
Yeah.
I'm just going around.
And then I
yeah.
feel like the straw could use just a tiny bit of a little highlight right there. I think that's it. You think you're good with yours, Alan?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you, Maria, and thank all of you for watching. And
Okay.
good luck
So-
painting.
But we're going to reveal it, and then we'll show what
Yes.
we're doing. So we'll hold them up for Dave. Okay. Summer squeeze.
Lemonade.
Lemonade. Makes you want to have some lemonade, huh? All right.
Yes.
I like it. I really
Thank
like
you.
how you paint.
Thank
you have
you.
your own style. I love it.
I love yours.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so next episode 32,
Two.
we're going to have a guest from the National Aviary. If you've ever been to the National Aviary, this is from a photograph of Red, who lives at the National Aviary.
Oh, wow.
He might be one of the birds that does the educational things out too. I'm not sure.
Nice.
But this is a photograph of Red. We're going to be painting Red, and then the person from the National Aviary. We could talk about Red and learn about scarlet
I can't wait.
macaws.
I love the
so
aviary.
He's the scarlet macaw. They also have. I forget the other one's name. He's a green wing macaw, so he has green. This is the scarlet macaw.
Wow,
The red, the
beautiful.
yellow, and the blue, which are primary colors.
I know. That'll
I
help
like
me.
that. So anyway, okay.
See you next time.
and thank you for joining us. Okay, bye-bye.